Maligno Trip is a social deduction game set in the Philippines. A game of betrayal roles, suspicious actions, and deceptive talk. Players must work together to go home to Manila, the capital city of the Philippines. Travelers will find themselves riddled by detours, wrong turns, and long routes, which affects gas consumption. While the goal of the travelers is to go home, the monster team aims to consume all the gas to kill them before they go home. At the start of the game, each player is given a team card and a character role card. A player must see the team card privately, while the character role card is shown throughout the game. The map is divided into blocks or days. Each day, a designated driver is elected by the group who will decide the action of the car token. The movement of the car token is dependent on turns. A navigator is assigned each turn to work with the driver. Navigators are automatically assigned counterclockwise of the driver, starting on the right of the driver. When the car token lands on a location that is found beyond or on the boundary of blocks or days, then the night phase is initiated. Players will sleep during the night phase. Except for the first day, each day must start with a voting phase, which will designate a driver. Then, a navigator will be assigned as usual. Car movement is only done during the day. One movement of the car token is considered a turn. After moving the car token, another navigator is assigned to the new turn. Drivers use action cards. These cards dictate the road access for the car token. Blue cards are used to access the expressway. It is the best and safest way to access Manila. The red cards, however, are used to access small roads for long routes towards Manila. The deck is comprised of a random mix of blue and red cards. The navigator and driver work in secret for the car token to move. The navigator draws 3 random action cards from the deck and then discards 1 card. The navigator then passes the remaining 2 action cards to the driver. The driver finally picks 1 action card that will be used to move the car token. Move the car token according to the action granted by the action card, then move the token in the gas fuel bar accordingly. Most action cards will dictate gas consumption, but the toll pass gas coupon will have no gas consumption. The long turn detour also consumes gas, but it consumes 2 gas fuel for 1 movement. The roadblock card prevents the car token from moving, but consumes 1 gas fuel. The wrong turn card moves the car token to its previous position with 1 gas consumption. The connection of the roads on the map should always be considered. If the driver wishes to play a blue card while the current position of the car token has no immediate connection to the expressway, then that turn is skipped and there is no gas consumption for that turn. A new turn with a new navigator will be applied. One way to jump to an expressway is by the use of the bypass toll pass. The car token may land at the toll location with or without any direct connection to its current position. The driver may choose the toll location nearest to the car token in the direction towards Manila. The driver has the choice to reject any card that is handed by the navigator. Navigation rejection may only be done if the driver has not seen the action cards. The navigation bar on the board describes how many rejections have been made. Each day, 3 rejections may be done by the driver. The navigation bar resets each day. Navigators must not identify the contents of the drawn cards. They may only react negatively or positively. There are different icons on the map that correspond to events that are favorable to either team. All events or icons can only be used once. The red gas icon gives you an additional 1 gas fuel upon landing on it. Gas consumption from an action card during that turn is disregarded. For example, a driver who played a long turn detour card on a red gas icon will just add 1 gas fuel on the bar. The green gas icon gives you no gas consumption in 1 movement. It is similar to the toll pass gas coupon card. For example, a driver who played a toll pass card on a green icon will disregard gas consumption. But when a toll pass gas coupon card has been used and the car token landed on a green gas icon, add a gas fuel on the bar. The Spend the Night icon will enable the players to initiate a night phase immediately. It will also reset a new deck. Both the driver and the navigator must agree to initiate a night phase. The long-turn detour icon on the expressway and the small roads will require 2 gas consumption upon landing. Maligno Team can curse a player during the night. Cursed players cannot use their action ability. The single heal icon uncurses one cursed player from the board, while the triple heal icon uncurses all the cursed players from the board. The Investigate icon lets the current navigator peek at one player's team card privately. The Navigator Bypass icon lets the driver reject the 2 action cards handed by the navigator, even if the driver has seen the action cards during a turn. And lastly, the White Bypass icon will let the car have direct access to the nearest toll location. A toll pass card or any blue card must be played upon leaving the icon. It will let the car jump to the nearest toll location in the direction of Manila. This icon does not trigger any effect upon landing. The effect is used upon leaving. The player who got Max as a character role is the first driver of the game. He is automatically the driver on the first day. The person next to their right is the first navigator. In the second time Max becomes the driver, the action skill makes the player both the driver and navigator after saying the word, "Buckle up." Max cannot be the driver on the second day. The character role Cardo can look at the top 2 cards of the deck when the car leaves the expressway. His action skill is Shotgun. Whenever he says that word just before the driver picks the final action card, he can predict the color of the action card to be played. If correct, add 1 gas fuel. If incorrect, consume 1 gas fuel. This is separate from the action card's gas consumption. The driver can only negatively and positively react during Cardo's prediction. The character role Karen can look at a driver's discarded action card when a long-turn detour card has been played. Her action skill is Navigator. Whenever she says that word, she will become the navigator on the next turn. The assigned navigator will continue with Karen as the previous navigator. Peter has only a special skill. He may peek at any night, but cannot be the driver nor navigator the next day. If he is cursed, he cannot tell what happened during the night he peeked. Peter must make sure that there is no cursed token on his name before discussing what happened during the night. In the case of Peter in the Maligno team, he can falsely claim that he didn't wake up during the night, but if he is in the human team, he must be honest with the group that he woke up during the night. The character role, Lee, has a special skill. When the number of rejections for the navigator is 0, then Lee will act as a third person during a turn. After looking at the cards, the driver for the turn must whisper the 2 action cards to Lee while it is face down. Lee will choose the final action card between 2 face down cards from the driver. Lee must not peek at the action cards. His action skill is saying new driver anytime during a turn to call for a vote for a new driver the following turn. Davina is a character that can shuffle a new deck by merging the discard pile and current deck anytime during the game. Her action skill is saying Eureka when a roadblock card or a wrong turn card has been played by the driver. If it is a roadblock, then discard that card and the driver must play the other card. But if it is a wrong turn card, the car doesn't move. Marites is a character role that may peek at one person's team card anytime during the last day. Her action skill is saying Chismis when the navigator draws 3 cards. She will be able to peek at 1 card before the navigator discards a card. Junior is a character role that may peek during the 3rd night. Just like Peter, he cannot be the driver or navigator the next day. His action skill is saying spend the night just before the turn ends to spend the night at the current car's location. Just like the icon spend the night, it will initiate a night phase immediately resulting in a new driver the next day. The deck should also be shuffled with the discard pile to form a new deck. The Maligno team may curse in the night. Roles are essential in strategic plays because they add depth and complexity to the gameplay. Both teams will use the skills of the character roles to their advantage. There are two types of skills. The action skill requires players to say a word to activate the skill, while the special skill will have circumstances to be activated. Always remember that both skills can only be used once separately. The night phase will initiate during one of the following circumstances. When the car token lands on a location that is found between two separate days, or when the car token lands beyond the boundary of the current day, or when both the designated driver and the navigator initiated the Spend the Night icon, and lastly, when Junior's action skill Spend the Night was used. During the night phase, the players will simulate a sleeping cycle that will require players to close their eyes for 15 seconds. During the 15-second sleep, the Maligno team may open their eyes to curse or kill one player of their choice, depending on the night. It will be their choice if they want to peek at night. During the first and second nights, the Maligno team has the option to curse one player. They may curse themselves for cover, but consider the consequences of no action skills. If there are 6 players or more, killing is required on the third night. For 5 players or less, cursing is required on the third night. All curse tokens will remain on the board until the single heal or triple heal icon has been activated. Players may set a timer for 15 seconds for a 15-second sleeping simulation. It is suggested that players close their eyes and use their hands to cover their faces. No hand should touch the table while sleeping, except for the Maligno team. After waking up from sleep, the group must elect a driver. Anyone can nominate a potential driver, considering that person was not the driver on the previous day or when a special skill says they cannot. A majority vote is required. In the case of an election failure, another nomination must be held until a majority vote has been done. The first name to be called out for a nomination is the first to undergo a vote. Players must carefully choose the right driver in terms of position and their behavior. At each turn, the navigator will influence the driver's choices by discarding a card that is not favorable to their team. Players must figure out who among the navigators or drivers could have manipulated the action cards for their own team. The Maligno team must use all means to hide their identity. Everyone should claim to be human and, most importantly, enjoy the trip.